السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. رمضان مبارك. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نويت العلم وتعلم وتذكر وتذكير ونفع والانتفاع والرفادة والاستفادة وحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم والدعاء إلى الهدى والضلالة على الخير وابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. Alhamdulillah. Okay, we will continue on today with Imam Al-Haddad's book of good manners. We're going to do chapter 4 and 5, inshallah. Chapter 4 is on guarding the senses against transgressions and being deceived by this world. So, Imam Al-Haddad starts off this chapter by saying, a disciple should strive to restrain his senses and limbs from transgressions and sins and only use them in obedience. He should use them only in those things which would benefit him in the hereafter. He should take great care in guarding his tongue, for it is small in size, but its crimes are great. Let him prevent it from lying, backbiting, and other forms of forbidden speech. All right, let's stop right there. So, the Jawarih, this is talking about being in control of the pathways to the heart. This is difficult for a lot of people. And one of the reasons it's difficult is because of the fact that there are multiple acts that can be initiated with each one of the limbs. Some of them are very subtle, and if you're not conscious, in a conscious state as you're going around through your day, you can very easily slip and do something that intentionally you may not have done, but because of the fact that you weren't paying attention to what you were doing, it happens. And the ease of it happening is also a manifesto of repeated acts happening over and over again because of the fact that that one slip that you had and you didn't really pay attention. It's not as difficult as I'm probably making it sound, so forgive me for that. But again, we should be mindful of all of these things. So the Jawari, the 7 limbs will be the eyes, the ears, the tongue, the hands. Eyes, ears, tongue, hands, stomach, genitals, and the feet. Okay. And the senses that go along with these things. Okay, they work in conjunction with each other. And the use of these things and the things that will take us towards the hereafter is very important. Like he starts off with the tongue, and being at a smaller size and the crimes that it commits, because it commits zihila, it commits the lying, it speaks lewd and lascivious things. It speaks unnecessarily, not even having to lie or just engage in riba or being lewd. It just speaks unnecessarily. It just, sometimes people can't control their mouths and just anything comes out. And it also is the means that how we ingest the haram, because we eat things that we have no business eating neither. So in conjunction with the stomach and the hands, the tongue is the first to, after the hands pass, pick it up and put it in the mouth. That tongue is the first thing to receive it before the stomach does. So again, it's a great fitment for us. However, we can control it. So he says, let him beware of lewdness and of delving into what does not concern him. This is where the mouth just says anything. Even if it were not forbidden, for it hardens the heart and wastes time. A disciple should not only move his tongue in reciting the Quran, the remembrance of Allah and dhikr, giving advice to a Muslim, nasiha, enjoining good, amr bil ma'ruf, and forbidding evil, and nahi anil munkar, but also only for those worldly things that relate to the hereafter, engaging in talking and dealing with what is actually lawful and necessary for helping and assisting you to getting to Jannah, and seeking Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam's pleasure. All right. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The speech of the son of Adam will be counted against him, not for him, except for enjoining good, forbidding evil, and remembering Allah." So anything that we do outside of enjoining good, forbidding evil, or anything that we say outside of enjoining good, forbidding evil, and dhikr of Allah, we will be having to be held. We will be held accountable for what comes out of our mouths. So this is a good way to assess for yourselves, for ourselves, whether or not when we do open our mouths, if what we're about to say is appropriate. Always judging by that fact. Is this a means of enjoying the good? Is this a means of forbidding evil? Is this a means of remembering Allah? And knowing that, or rather know that hearing and sight are two open doors. Whatever enters through them reaches the heart. Okay, so the eyes, they are the receptors for everything that comes into the body. We see all kinds of things. This is why they always tell us about being cautious of looking at lewd things of this world. This is one of the reasons that a lot of our scholars these days tell us or warn us about the dangers of TV and movies and things of that nature there. Because you're always going to be seeing something, even if you don't have the volume up, you're always going to be seeing people engaging in something that's haram, more often than not. Okay, now we have people who need help in weaning themselves off certain things because they were very heavily consumed by these things before becoming Muslim, or hearing certain things because a lot of people like music. So how do we deal with this? If you have a strong love for music and you're not able to just cold turkey it and just stay away from everything, period, like that, then replace it incrementally with things that are better than it. Nasheeds, recitation of Quran, talks, general Islamic lectures, or even some things that can come up from things that are doing you that will benefit you, teaching you skills and things of that nature. Certain podcasts that have content that will teach you how to do things that you're not capable of doing right now, and it does not contain a lot of lewd and lascivious things in it, lewd speech, whatever. Also, again, if it's the music that has you in that state right now, gravitate towards listening to things that don't have lyrics. And from that point there, wean yourself back from that evil still, because there are certain instruments that we should not be listening to. Okay? Again, always trying to take certain things, not everything, certain things that we do that are haram or doubtful, and just cold turkey. It's not always the best thing, because when you remove something, you have to replace it with something else. This is how most humans work. This is how human nature is in terms of things that we like or are attracted to. You move these things incrementally in stages so that you don't cause yourself to go through a period of time or a period of shock where your body has been deprived of something that it likes, your naturally been deprived of something that it likes, and then it drives you to something similar to it that's not any better. So you have to be conscious, okay? Some people say, well, haram, just stop doing it. Some people can do it like that. Some people can't. You need help with that. You need understanding. Ask questions. That's what we're here for. Myself, Ustad Uthman, Ustad Namumba. We can try to help you figure out what's the best route to go in being able to remove these things from out of your life. But ask questions. If you don't ask, you'll get answers, because you don't know. Nobody knows that you need help. All right. Where did we go? So he says, let beware of looking with approval at the ornaments of this world for its outward deception, for its outward is deception, and its inward is a lesson in wisdom. Okay? A lot of things we see in this world that look good, feel good, smell good, taste good, whatever, is bad for you. God tells us, you know, the thing that is bad for you, you may hear the thing that's good for you. All right. Most of the things in this world that we see and are attracted to and long for are not really good for us. So what should we do? We should be wary and make sure that we understand the harms and the benefits, and understand that anything that has harm that outweighs benefit is not for us to use. We should stay away from it. Take the example of alcohol, because this is one of the things the law has talked about. There's harm in alcohol, there's benefit in harm, as the law says, but there's also great harm. The harm outweighs the benefit. Therefore, you should not take it upon yourself to think that it's okay to consume this, basically. Same thing with gambling. Two of the things that the law talks about. There's benefit in it, there's harm. Okay? Alcohol has some curative properties under very limited circumstances for certain things. Doesn't mean that you're supposed to just, okay, because it does this, then I can use it. No. Okay? There are rulings behind this. Each school has its own different understanding and ruling behind when the use of alcohol would be permitted for medicinal purposes or for the purpose of saving life. If you were drinking, you need something to drink, somebody would not provide you with nothing but a glass of wine every day, and you didn't have any water, anything else that they would provide you with, then it would be permissible for you to drink the wine enough to preserve your life. So, because you were dying thirst. But immediately after something else was available that was permissible, you could no longer use that. Same thing with like pork, haram. But if nobody would give you anything else to eat but a piece of meat, it's pork, then it's permissible for you to eat. But at the same time, you just don't go all out because they give you, if you got vegetables, bread, fruit, whatever else, it's not permissible to eat. Because now, one thing, you don't have to have meat with your meal, and you don't have to have meat every day. So people need to be conscious of that as well. Certain things have certain instances. Anytime anything else is available to you, then the thing that's haram is not available to you, despite what you may think. Okay? Despite what you may think. Again, get doubts, misunderstandings, ask questions. Don't sit there and hear something and think that's what it is, and I didn't say that. No, that's not what I meant. And I made that clear. All right. The eye looks at its deceptive manifestations, but the heart looks at the lesson hidden within. How many a disciple looked on the beauties of this world, and his heart leaned toward them, liked them, and became inclined to build and acquire. So lower your eyes, disciple, and look at creation only with the intentions of seeing the lessons within it. Remember, as you looked at it, it would wither and go from whence it came. It came from non-existence. It was gazed upon by many people who are now gone while it still remains. Generation after generation have received it as an inheritance. Look at creatures with an eye that sees them as evidence of their Creator's perfect power. Every creation says with the tongue of the state, there is no God but God, the august, the wise. This is what the people of enlightened hearts who perceive by the light of Allah can hear. Okay, this ends chapter 4. Chapter 5, covering the remaining in state of purity and preferring hunger satiety. Okay, so he starts off, the disciple should maintain a state of purity. And whenever he loses it, he should perform his ritual ablutions, followed by 2 rakat. Okay, so 2 things he's talking about here. Always being in a state of wudu, or if necessary to make ghusl. Bottom line, being in a constant state of tahara. You should always be ready to pray or engage in whatever acts of worship throughout the day that may come along, whether voluntary or obligatory, at all times. Okay? One of the great hindrances, very subtle thing, but people continue to do it nonetheless, and it's one of the reasons that people are lax in fulfilling the obligations of prayer during work times and other times of the day is because they don't remain in a state of purity throughout the day. If you use the bathroom, make wudu when you finish. Who cares if somebody sees you take your socks off and wash your feet in the bathroom in a public place? As long as the place is fairly decently clean. Most places you have to be wary of where you take your shoes and socks off at, and that doesn't mean you stand up on the floor barefoot. Okay, so be intelligent. Take one shoe off, one sock off at a time. Wash your foot, put the sock back on, put the shoe back on. Take the other one off, do the same thing. Be intelligent. Don't be crazy. Okay. Uh, However, stay in the state of wudu. If the bathroom's not fit for you to make wudu in like that at the sink, keep a bottle of water with you so you can make wudu where you're at, wherever that is. Okay. And if you can't make it at the immediate location where you may have relieved yourself at, go off somewhere to a distance. Like if you're out in public and you're walking, go into the park, take a seat, make wudu. It's not going to kill you. Somebody might look at you, but so what? You're doing what you should do in order to stay in a state of purity. All right. And then he talks about performing the 2 rak'ah afterwards. This is a nafila. Okay. It's not necessary for you to perform the 2 rak'ah afterwards. Okay. This was a practice that was initiated by Bilal ibn Rabah, radiallahu anhu, the muezzin of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And this was the act that he initiated of his own free will without the Rasul's instruction. Okay. And this is one of the things that we look at when people talk about bid'ah, and how if a person was to engage in a good act of worship or a good act of remembrance, statements, actions, and just because the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not initially initiate it himself, they say that because of this, you can't do this and this is bid'ah. This is one of the proofs that it's not, because Bilal did this and the Rasul was there and the Rasul had to ask him, say, I heard the footsteps in Jannah before mine, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is it that you do that Allah has given you this favor? And Bilal told him at the end of the hadith, the only thing I know that I do is every time I make wudu, I perform 2 rak'ahs after it. Okay, the Rasul didn't tell him, so what makes you do something like this? This is not permissible. I didn't tell you to do this, etc., etc. But he approved it and he liked the deed, and he would often do it himself afterwards. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, but it was initiated without instruction or without the example of the Rasul preceding him in it, or giving him any indication that he should have done so. So again, for those who have this thing about bid'ah, there's a lot more that goes to that, but this is one of the proofs that generally understood from. Next thing, he goes on to say, when he is intimate with his wife, he must take immediate ghusl and not remain impure. He should make it easy for himself to maintain ritual purity by eating a little. For the one who eats much, breaks his wudu often, and finds it in effort to maintain purity. All right, so 2 things again here. Anytime you have lawful relationships with your spouse, male or female, it is highly recommended for you to make ghusl afterwards. Okay? And some say if you were to repeat the act, you can go make wudu and then come back, etc., etc. There are rulings about that. We're not going to get into technical details right now. But however, whether you're at the beginning, within the period of time that you and your spouse have lawful interactions, you should make ghusl when you finish. Okay? Make ghusl when you finish. You should do this. All right? It's not haram if you don't. It's very much disliked under very broad circumstances. But you should go and make ghusl. Okay? Why do we say it's not haram if you don't? Because if you wake up and you're fasting, just like this is the month of Ramadan, if you wake up to take sahur in the morning and you and your wife had relations early in the evening before y'all went to sleep, and you went to sleep in that state, you wake up in the state where you have to get up and make ghusl before it's time for subh, and you have to eat your sahur, You can eat your suhoor, and if the time of subh was already in when you woke up, if you're not fasting or whatever, and you wake up and you're in that state, then your fasting is still valid. Okay, so that's why it's not haram. One of the reasons. Okay, basic understanding. Like I said, we're not getting into technical details, not going into the fiqh room, because each school has rulings different and specific to their madhab, even if they're very minor details about something. We're not getting into that. But general understanding, you and your spouse have sex, make those. Okay, that's all. Stay in a state of purity. No matter what time of day or night it is, you should always strive to be in a state of purity. All right. Also, when eating, people who tend to eat a lot usually tend to have a lot of gas. Some people who have issues with gas and think that their flatulence is a license for them to have the rukhsah to not have to perform wudu all these different times of the day. They don't really have that license. You just need to stop eating so much. Be greedy. That's what it is. Oftentimes, if you keep eating, then after you finish eating, you just keep releasing. That means you need to stop eating so much. There's too much food in you. That's one of the easiest ways to relieve yourself of that problem. The less you eat, the less you have to release. The less you have to release, the longer you can maintain your wudu. Okay. Eating is also of help in keeping awake at night, which is one of the most important activities of a disciple. The less we eat, the easier it is for us to stay up and engage in acts of worship, etc., etc. He should also eat only when necessary and sleep only when it overcomes him. He should speak only when necessary and mix only with people from whom he can benefit. The one who eats much, his heart grows hard and his limbs become too heavy for acts of worship. Eating much makes one sleep and talk. When the disciple sleeps much and talks much, his quest becomes an empty shell devoid of substance. The hadith states, the son of Adam never fills a vessel worse than his stomach. It should suffice the son of Adam a few morsels to keep his back straight. Just enough. Okay, I ate something. You're not full. You're not bulging with food, but you've eaten enough. You know you've eaten enough, and it's enough to suffice you so you can move on to the next stage of your day or your whatever acts you're engaged in. And this is where the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the end of this tradition gives the principle of thirds. A third for the stomach, third for his beverage, and the third for breath. So you eat enough till you're satisfied. I ate, alhamdulillah, drink. I drank something, you're not thirsty, and you have enough so that when you finish eating, breathing is not a hard problem for you. Okay? This being the month of Ramadan, this is always the perennial period where people always have these problems with eating and eating too much, and then at the end of the night, they can't pray and do other things. This is not right. This is not good. All right, went a little longer than expected today. Ran my mouth a little too much, so we're closed for now. Inshallah, we'll pick up again tomorrow morning. Pray everyone has a blessed day of fasting and Allah accepts your worship. This is the 23rd day. Last night was the 23rd night. We talked about this the day before. Tonight will be the 24th night. Tomorrow will be the 24th day. Okay. Tomorrow evening, which will be Wednesday evening, will be the 25th night. Another odd night. Another night that we've been instructed by the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to seek out later to the Qadr. So we've already had the 21st and the 23rd night, 2 odd nights. So we'll have the 25th Wednesday night, we'll have the 27th Friday night, and we'll have the 29th on Sunday night. All right. So the 3 more nights of odd nights that are possible for us to seek out the night of Laylatul Qadr. Also, Sunday night will be the first night that you can go out and look for the Hilal. Sunday night will be the first night that you can go out and look for the Hilal. Sunday night will be the first night that you can go out and look for the Hilal. And if the Hilal is spotted on Sunday night, then Monday morning will be Eid. If the Hilal is spotted on Sunday night, Monday morning will be the day, excuse me, if the Hilal, 29th of the, Sunday night is the 29th night. Okay, so we'll go out and look for the Hilal then. Okay? Sunday night is the 29th night. That's right. Tonight is the 28th. No, just tripping now. Today is the 23rd day. Tomorrow is the 24th. Today is the 23rd day. Tonight is the 24th night. Tomorrow is the 24th day. Tomorrow night is the 25th night. Okay? On the eve of the 29th night, on Sunday night, you go out and look for the Hilal. Sunday night, go out and look for the Hilal. Either the third or the fourth will be the day that we should be able to have Eid, inshallah. I hope I'm saying that right. However, Sunday night is the 29th night. So this is the period of time where we should go out and seek the Hilal. Okay? An odd night as well. So make sure, regardless of whatever's going on, everybody gets in as much acts of worship and extra dua and dhikr and reading of Quran or whatever acts that you can engage in according to your schedule and your time. Do something extra. Do a little bit more. Just a little bit more. If it's just an extra 2 rak'ah, if it's an extra ayat of Quran that you read, something. Just do something extra. All right? And I'll get the days straightened out for you. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm not thinking too clearly right now. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.